Chapter 33 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Mantara again. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Shatrughna and Bharata were alone after the painful fortnight spent in performing the obsequies to the king. Shatrughna said, Rama, our dear Rama, who was the home of all noble qualities, who was the refuge of all those who were in trouble, who was the only star in our sky, that Rama has been driven away to the forest because of the sinful whim of a woman. He stood for a while and his face was flushed and his brows were knit. He was the twin of Lakshmana and his thoughts were the same as those of Lakshmana. He said, I am intrigued about the behavior of my brother Lakshmana. He is valiant and efficient too. How is it he did not control this madness in our father? Why did he not take action against this injustice to Rama and avert the calamity? He should have stopped the exile. If a king known for his righteousness becomes suddenly bereft of it because of his infatuation for a woman, and in the process loses sight of dharma and does wrong things, then it is up to others to interfere, consider what is right and what is wrong, and prevent the injustice from taking shape and coming to pass. I do not know what stayed the hand of my brother. As they were talking to each other, there appeared at the doorway Mantara, the hunchback. She had smeared red sandal paste all over her arms. She was wearing costly silks and several golden and gem set ornaments were decorating her figure. A girdle of gold was set with many precious stones and it was strapped around her crooked waist. Her hair was intertwined with pearls strung together in wreaths. By now, the entire palace knew the attitude of Bharata towards his mother. The doorkeeper now saw Mantara and he was furious with her. He caught hold of her and dragging her to the presence of Shatrughna said, Prince, this woman is the cause of everything. If you want to know why our beloved king died and Rama was banished to the forest, it is because of this sinful creature, because of her mind which is as crooked as her back. She contrived to bring about all this tragedy in the city of Ayodhya. Do what you will with her. Nothing is punishment enough. Shatrughna stared at the women standing in front of him, trembling in every limb and staring stupidly at him. All his pent-up fury burst forth and addressing the inmates of the palace, who had been dreaming of the time when she would be punished, he said, This woman has caused immense suffering to our father and to our beloved brothers and to us. I will make her reap the reward for her actions. He dragged her about and she screamed with fear and terror. She tried to cling to the other maids, but she was so unpopular with all of them that no one would come near her. Even the one or two who were friendly with her ran away from there when they saw the fury in the eyes of Shatrughna. They were scared that he would punish them also, since they were friends of Mantara. Shatrughna dragged Mantara on the ground, and her jewels, the ornaments which she was wearing, were now scattered all over the place. The ground was almost like the sky during autumn, the sky which is studded with stars. Kaikeyi heard the commotion and came towards them, but the prince paid no heed to her. He was dragging the wretched hunchback to and fro, and Kaikeyi went to Bharata and asked him to intervene. Bharata saw how angry his brother was, and he said, My dear brother, women should not be punished even if they deserve to be. They should be forgiven. If you would like me to tell you the truth, the only reason why I could not kill this Kaikeyi yet is because I am afraid of Rama. He is noble and he will be displeased with me if he knows that I have killed a woman and a mother at that. He will never talk to me or even look at me. Even so with this sinful creature. She is the cause of all the unhappiness which has visited us. But we should do what Rama would have done. Forgive her and not punish her. Shatrughna let her go, and bleating like a sheep, she fell at the feet of Kaikeyi and cried her eyes out. Kaikeyi led her away from there, speaking words of comfort to her. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram.
Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamast. Chapter 34 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. The throne is yours. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. On the next day, when the sun had risen and when Bharata and Shatrughna had completed their morning worship of the sun, the ministers of the state came to Bharata and said, Prince Bharata, King Dasharatha, who was like a father to us, has now been gathered to his forefathers. Rama with Lakshmana has gone to the Dandaka to dwell there for the duration of 14 years. This land of Kosala should not be without a king. It is now up to you to take up the reins of the kingdom in your hands and rule it. The articles for the coronation are all ready and waiting for you. The people are also expecting to see your coronation. Please accept the throne and rule us as your father did. Bharata walked with them to the spot where the many accessories for the coronation were assembled. Silently he made a pradakshina to the myriads of pots containing holy water and to the chamaras and the white umbrella. He then came and stood on a raised dais so that the people could see him and hear him. He said, My beloved brothers in woe, together we are suffering this great calamity which has been visited on us. It is not right that you should talk like this to me, asking me to take up the ruling of the king of the land into my hands. Since time immemorial, the throne of the Ikshvakus has been reserved only for the eldest son of the king. Rama is the eldest son of the king. He will be the king. I will instead go to the forest and spend the 14 years. I have decided to go to the forest and bring my dear brother back to Ayodhya. Please help me to do this. Assemble the army, and as for me, I will carry all these articles meant for the coronation with me and crown Rama in the forest itself. I will bring back Rama as the king of Kosala. Rama will certainly be the king. I will not let this woman have her dream realized. I will remain in the forest and expiate her sin. Now make the paths to the forest wide enough and good enough for the army. Send people immediately so that we can leave as early as we can. The citizens were thrilled with the words of this prince who was selfless. The next morning, Vandis and Magadhis sang the praises of the prince, and the sky resounded with the noise set up by the drums and bugles and other instruments. Bharata's sorrow was intensified by these, which were tributes to a king and not to him. Bharata had woken up because of these, and he came out of his chamber and said, Please stop this, I am not the king. He then told Shatrughna, Look, Shatrughna, look at the extent of my mother's crime. The king has left Ayodhya in my hands and gone. That image of Dharma has left the country an orphan, and like a boat without anyone to steer it, it is tottering in the grip of uncertainty. Rama, who would have taken it up as early as he handles the bow, he has been sent away to the forest. What a situation! Poor unfortunate Bharata was sorely tired. He was worried about many things, and the journey to the forest was now uppermost in his mind. If only Rama could be brought back, everything would be all right. In the meantime, while he was conferring with his brother, Vashishta entered the council hall. Resplendent as the divine Sabha, Sudharma, the king's council hall was a glorious sight. The rishi seated himself on a seat which he was in the habit of occupying. He asked for his councillors and other officials to assemble there. He said, We have to make some important decisions. Ask Sumantra to bring the young prince Bharata to the council hall. The hall was so soon filled up with the people whom Vashishta had summoned. People were already filling the streets and the rooftops even. Bharata entered the hall filled with the men who had been the advisers of his father. They were all there, but the king was not. Both the princes stood still after they had saluted the elders. Vashishta then said, "Child, Bharata, your father, the king, has left this land for you to rule. He was a righteous man and he acted thus because he did not want to be called an adharmi. As for the reason, your brother Rama left for the Dandaka with his wife and Lakshmana. It was the same. Rama did not want his father to be called untruthful. This throne of the Ikshvakus is yours. Accept it and allow yourself to be crowned. Rule this large expanse of land, this Kosala which has been the heritage of your ancestors." Bharata listened to the words without any expression on his face. His mind was far away in the forest with Rama. He looked at his guru with pained eyes and said, "My lord, you are the person who has taught me what dharma is. Ever since I was a child, having sat at your feet and listened to the nuances of dharma as expounded by you, how is it possible for me to accept the throne? I am the son of King Dasharatha, and from him I have inherited a sense of justice also. How can a son of Dasharatha take what does not belong to him? The kingdom, as well as myself, are Rama's to do what he will. Please do not ask me to remind you of the rule of the line of the Ikshvakus, that the eldest son has the right to the throne and none other. If I now do something which has not been done before, it will be a blot on the name of the Ikshvakus. It will be a sin. It is unbecoming to one like me, born in a noble house, and it will unfit me to claim a place in the next world. I do not approve of the sinful act of my mother. From here I salute Rama the king, who is at the moment dwelling in the forest. I am bent on but one thing, that Rama should rule the kingdom. He is the rightful heir to the throne, and he is the person who is capable of ruling the country and not my unfortunate self." The hall was silent. Everyone was touched by the love Bharata had for his brother, and they were pleased with his adherence to Dharma. Bharata continued, "I will go to the forest and bring Rama back from there, and I will offer the kingdom to him. If I am unable to bring him back, if I do not succeed, I will remain with him and serve him like my brother Lakshmana is doing. I'll try my best to install Rama on the throne. I have already asked for the roads to be made ready for the march of the army to the forest." The young prince asked Sumantra to collect the army. Everything was got ready very soon, and there was a thrill of anticipation in the mind of everyone. They were sure that Rama would come back with Bharata and that they would be able to forget the loss of their father Dasharatha in the happiness of being ruled by Rama. Bharata took the blessings of Vashishta, who was by his side during all the painful days when the preparations were being made. He admired this young pupil of his, who seemed to be as great as, if not greater than, Rama in the observance of Dharma. He smiled to himself softly when he remembered telling Kaikeyi the same thing on that memorable day when Rama left for the forest. He had told her in the presence of everyone that Bharata would never accept the throne and that he would, most probably, wear tree bark and remain with Rama in the forest. Vashishta was proud of his pupils. Bharata called for his chariot, and it was at the doorway in no time. Bharata, who had hopes of bringing Rama back to Ayodhya, spoke to Sumantra. "Sumantra, let us hasten towards the forest with the army. The country should not be without a king for long. Let us go." Bharata and Shatrughna were seated in the chariot, driven by Sumantra. The ministers and the others came in chariots, on horsebacks and on elephants. The queens went with him too, Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi. Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi. Many of the people of Ayodhya also went with Bharata. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 35 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Bharata on his way. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokaviramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. After travelling some distance, they reached the river Tamasa, and after that they continued the journey. Sumantra, who had gone that way before, went straight towards the city. Shringi, Bherapura, and the army followed him. Guha was the ruler of the city. The entire army came to a halt on the banks of the river Ganga. Bharata told his ministers, "Let the army camp on the banks of the river. After rest tonight, we can pursue the journey tomorrow. We can cross the sacred river Ganga and reach the opposite bank in the morning. I will also offer Anjali for my departed father with the waters of the Ganga." Guha came to know of the army which had camped on the banks of the river, and he spoke to his men. "This army is as big as the sea. When I look at the chariot, I can see the Kovidara flag on it. The banner indicates that Bharata, the evil-minded, has arrived in person. The son of Kaikeyi may have intentions of fighting with us or imprisoning us. Or perhaps he has designs on Rama. He is now the king, and perhaps to stabilize his position, he means to kill Rama. Rama is my friend, and I am ready to lay down my life for him. Get the army ready and wait for my instructions. Guard the river banks also. If Bharata has evil designs, we should not let him cross the river." Guha then took offerings which a vassal king takes to his emperor and decided to go and meet Bharata. Sumantra spied the hunter king from a distance and told Bharata, "This man who is approaching us is the king of this land. He knows all about the forest Dandaka. He is also a great friend of Rama. If you talk to him, he will be able to tell you about the whereabouts of Rama." Guha approached Bharata and paid his respects to him. And he said, "This land is but the garden belonging to your country. I have a request, and that is, you should honor me by accepting our hospitality. You can spend the night here in peace and proceed in the morning." Bharata replied in a suitable manner and added, "I am told that you are a good friend of my Lord Rama. I will be grateful to you if you can tell me the way to the ashrama of Rishi Bharadwaja. This part of the country seems to be impregnable, and the river Ganga is difficult to cross on foot." Guha spoke very respectfully. He said, "Please have no worry about the way. Faithful men I have who will steer you across, and I will come with them to take you to the ashrama of Bharadwaja. But I hope no evil is meant for Rama. This large army makes me worried. I love Rama and cannot bear to think of evil befalling him, and that is why I ask this of you." Bharata heard these words of Guha, who did not mean to insult him, but nevertheless his words hurt Bharata. He said, You should not doubt my intentions. I consider Rama as my father. I am going to the forest to make Rama come back to the city with me. I promise you that is the only wish in my mind. He is my elder brother and the rightful heir to the throne." Guha's face was all smiles when he heard the assurance of Bharata, and he said, "Indeed, I am amazed at the nobility of a man such as you. You were offered the kingdom and you have refused it. I am yet to see a more selfless man than you. You are great. You have made up your mind to bring Rama back with you. I know that your fame will last forever in the world of men in after times. Bharata's thoughts were directed towards Rama, and the heart of the noble youth was filled with sorrow at the misfortune that had befallen Rama because of his mother Kaikeyi. He was the food of unseen fire, like a forest tree which burns and dries up because of the hidden fires inside it, like the great Himalaya, which has its snow flowing in rivulets after being melted by the rising sun. Even so, the sorrow inside him made Bharata melt into tears all the time. He spent a sleepless night, and Guha was trying to pacify him even as he did Lakshmana several nights back when they were with him. He talked about Lakshmana to Bharata. He said, Rama and Sita spent that memorable night here, and Lakshmana, armed with a bow and arrows, stood guard over them all through the night. I told him that I had a bed ready for him and that he could rest, while I would take over from him the task of guarding Rama. I said, My dear young prince, every one of my men is used to hardships, and you have been brought up in the lap of luxury. We will keep awake the whole night, and you can sleep. There is no one dearer to me than Rama. I promise to you that I will see that he will come to no harm. Lakshmana replied, My friend, it is not because of my lack of faith in you that I am standing thus, sleepless and armed. When I see my beloved brother on a bed made up of leaves, and when Sita and he sleeps thus, how can I sleep? I am neither hungry nor sleepy. He then spoke of the king's love for his son, and he had fears of the king's end coming soon. His fears were, I see, justified. He thought of the city of Ayodhya and of the people there, about their grief. He spent the entire night in thoughts like these. Early in the morning, in a boat which they asked for, they crossed this river Ganga and reached the southern bank. Looking like king elephants, these valiant brothers, wearing tree barks and with their hair matted like rishis, with the bows in their hands, quivers strapped to their shoulders and swords hanging from their waists, they walked along there on that side with Sita between them. Bharata was listening to the words of Guha, and he could not bear to hear any more. He looked at Shatrughna, and both of them cried out in pain, thinking of their brothers dressed like rishis and walking with Sita along the banks of Ganga. Kausalya walked to them and comforted Bharata as a mother would her child. Listen, child, she said, it is not right that you should grieve like this. With the king dead and with Rama far away, you are the one to take care of us old people. Bharata brought a semblance of control to his thoughts, and he turned to Guha and asked him, How did my brother spend the night? Where did he stay? Where did he sleep? What did he eat? What did dear Lakshmana do? Tell me everything. The only words which are kind to my ears are those which talk of Rama. Guha told him about the many eatables which he had brought for Rama and about his refusal, about the water from the river which Lakshmana brought from the Ganga and which was the only food they had that night. He told them about the dharba grass which made up the bed of Rama for the night, the bed prepared with loving hands by Lakshmana. And Guha took them to the Ingudi tree, under whose shade the exiles had spent the night. He indicated the exact spot where Lakshmana and Sumantra spent the night talking with him. Bharata led Kausalya to the tree and told her, Look, mother, this is where the great man spent a night. Descended from the line of the son of Dasharatha, the emperor, he spent the night on a bed made up of leaves and dharba grass. Bharata walked round the tree and spoke again. I can see the signs of his having spent the night here. There are some spikes of dharba grass still left on the ground. How could he sleep on the bare ground, accustomed as he is to the softest of beds made of swan's down? It is not possible to believe it. I have not yet begun to believe that such a thing has happened to us. It still has the semblance of a dream, and I feel that I may wake up and find everything perfectly safe in Ayodhya. That my father is there in his palace, and that Rama with Sita is sitting on the couch made of gold where he usually sits. When I think of Rama sleeping on the ground, I am fully convinced that even God is not as powerful as Kala, fate, which governs the course of the path of man on this earth. Look, mother, there are several strands of white silk caught in the darbha. It shows that Sita slept here that night. When I think that I am the cause of all these happenings, my heart is ready to break into 1,000 flinders. Lakshmana is fortunate since he is with Rama, serving him all the time. Mother, I have made up my mind. From now on, from this very moment, I will live on fruits and roots, even as my brother is now doing. And I will also mat my hair into a tangled mass and wear the tree bark which Rama and Lakshmana are wearing. The floor will be my bed. I will spend 14 years in the forest instead of Rama. Shatrughna will be with me. Rama will rule the kingdom with Lakshmana to assist him. Will the gods grant me my desire? I will fall at the feet of Rama and I will beseech him to accept the kingdom. If, however, he refuses, I will then remain with him in the forest. He cannot refuse me that privilege. Bemoaning his fate in 1,000 different ways, the poor unfortunate prince spent the night without being able to sleep. Early in the morning, he woke up from his short sleep and told Shatrughna, "Get up, Shatrughna, fetch Guha, the king of the hunters. He will help us cross the river." "I know you did not sleep, and I did not sleep either," said Shatrughna. "I saw you tossing about, and I lay silent and thought of Rama and Lakshmana." Before he could proceed towards him, Guha came on his own accord and said, "Bharata, did you sleep well?" Bharata made a suitable reply and added, "I will be grateful to you if you can arrange to ferry my army across the river Ganga." Guha collected all his boats, and soon the ferries were ready to transport the entire crowd across. There was one boat by name Swastika, and into that were seated Bharata, the queens Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi, Shatrughna, the preceptor Vashishta, and his group of rishis. The army and the citizens of Ayodhya crossed the river Ganga with Bharata and the royal household. After they had abandoned the boats, they proceeded further and soon arrived at Sangama, the place where the river Yamuna meets the river Ganga. From a distance, Bharata saw the ashrama of Bharadwaja. Accompanied by Shatrughna, he walked towards the ashrama of the great rishi Bharadwaja. The army was placed a krosa away from the ashrama. The ministers went with Bharata and with his preceptor Vashishta leading the small group. Bharata went towards the rishis dwelling on foot. When he was very near the hermitage, he left his ministers also behind and went only with his guru Vashishta as his companion. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 36 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. Bharata meets Bharadwaja. Apada Mahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Bharadwaja saw Vashishta and he rose up from his seat with great excitement and called out for the proper articles of welcome. He went to the rishi and welcomed him with the respect due to him. Bharata fell at his feet and Bharadwaja knew who he was. He welcomed all the guests and inquired after the welfare of all in the conventional language. He did not, however, speak a word about the king Dasharatha and about his welfare. Courtesies were exchanged and Bharadwaja said, "Bharata, you are the king in Ayodhya. What brings you to the forest? I am puzzled as to what the reason is, for you are coming to the forest now. The old Rishi continued, Kausalya's son has been commanded by his father Dasharatha to dwell in the forest for 14 years. He could ascribe no fault to Rama, but the exile was executed because the king was bound by a promise to his wife. The innocent prince, his wife, and his brother left the city and came away to Dandaka. The way is now quite clear of all obstacles for you. I hope you are pleased. His words hurt Bharata abominably, and with tears in his eyes and with his voice faltering because of the suffering caused by the words spoken by Bharadwaja, he said, I have never sinned. I was, till now, proud of the fact that I have committed no wrong. But the words spoken by you now have killed me. It is not right that you should punish me thus. What my mother did in my absence is neither pleasing to me, nor do I accept what she thinks she has won for me by her machinations. It is against all codes of Dharma, and I am greatly distressed by the course of events. I have come to the forest to search for Rama, to fall at his blessed feet, to offer the kingdom to him, and to take him back to Ayodhya, where he should be crowned as emperor. I beg of you to believe me and to consider me a devotee of Rama. Can you help me by telling me where the king of Kosala is? I am eager to see him. Bharadwaja was sorry to have hurt the sensitive prince. He said, It is but right that a son of the line of Raghu should have this devotion to his elders, a horror of adharma and a desire to honor the elders. I know your thoughts. I spoke as I did only to make your selflessness known to the world. Bharata stood with his arms locked across his chest and his face was downcast. He raised his eyes when the Rishi spoke. As for the dwelling place of Rama, I will tell you. With Sita and Lakshmana, your brother is living on the mountain by name Chitrakuta. Child, spend tonight here and tomorrow you can go there to meet Rama. I will obey your commands, said Bharata, and agreed to stay the night in the ashrama of Bharadwaja. The Rishi wanted to entertain the guests. Bharata spoke humbly and said, You have already given us everything, my lord. I need nothing more. Bharadwaja smiled gently and said, I know that you are satisfied with very little. Tell me, why have you left your army so far away from the ashrama? Bharata said, I have been taught that it is against all rules of behavior to disturb the peace of an ashrama and its tranquil atmosphere by bringing an alien note into it. It is not right to bring a large crowd here to the vicinity of an ashrama as sanctified as yours. A king or a prince should be very careful in his behavior towards the inmates of the ashramas. There is always the danger of the army destroying the trees and the flowering shrubs here, and they will also most probably frighten the tame deer and other animals in the ashrama. That was the reason for my leaving them behind. Let the army brought here, said the Rishi, and the prince obeyed him. The Rishi then touched water and invoked Vishwa Karma, and when he came, told him, I want to entertain this army, and it is up to you to see that they are satisfied by my hospitality. The heavenly host arrived with the Apsaras from the court of Indra, and a divine feast was spread out for the army from Ayodhya. Music and dancing by the Apsaras accompanied the feast, and every one of them was satiated with pleasure. When the sun had risen, Bharata went to the presence of Bharadwaja and said, We have been very happy and we spent a comfortable night. My army will not be able to forget this ashrama at any time. They have all been happy, extremely happy. Please grant me leave to go in search of my brother. You must wish me well. You must also be kind enough to indicate the path I should follow to reach the hermitage of Rama. Bharadwaja described the path even as he had done to Rama and added, on the banks of the river Mandakini, Rama has built an ashrama and you will find him there. Before leaving the ashrama, the queens of Dasharatha came to Bharadwaja and prostrated before him. They made pradakshina to him and stood silent. The rishi asked Bharata, child, I can see that these are your mothers. Tell me whose son is who? Kausalya had come first, and with her Sumitra, while Kaikeyi, the queen, whose desire was frustrated and who was disliked by all, had come last. Bharata said, my lord, look at this gentle lady with the sad eyes, thin because of fasting and looking divine because of her spiritual greatness. She is the eldest queen of my father, and she bore the lion among men, Rama, even as Aditi bore Upendra as her son. She is named Kausalya. The other lady who is holding on to her left hand, who looks like the branch of Karnikara tree whose flowers have fallen off, this lady whose face shows the suffering she has undergone, is the mother of the heavenly twins, Lakshmana and Shatrughna. Her name is Sumitra. My father lost his life because of a woman. He thought it better to die than to live with her. He was parted from his beloved son and found nothing left to live for. The woman who forced it on him is an arrogant woman, avaricious, heartless, sinful, and deceptively gentle to look at. Look on that woman, my lord, who is standing here beside me. She is Kaikeyi, my mother. Even talking of the sin committed by his mother was enough to make Bharata angry, and he sighed. His words came haltingly and his eyes filled up once again. Bharadwaja looked at him kindly and said, do not condemn your mother, Bharata. I can look into the future and I can see that this exile of Rama is for the good of the world. It is going to benefit the rishis of the forest, the devas and all the divine host. Forbear from your censure of this woman. Bharata took leave of the rishi and after collecting his army around him, left for the ashrama of Rama. It took some time for them to get ready, lost as they were still in the intoxication of the previous night. Finally, the journey began. They travelled as fast as they could in the southwesterly direction, and they covered a large distance. They passed forests, the rivers, and hills. Because of the disturbance, the inmates of the forest were frightened. They ran out of their caves and holes where they had made their homes and rushed in panic to other spots seeking shelter. Elephants and deer were to be found everywhere, and the trees were almost laden with monkeys of different types. After some distance had been covered along the southern bank of the Yamuna, Bharata said, it seems to me we are nearing the place which was indicated by the sage Bharadwaja. This river must be Mandakini, and this dense forest must be the one he mentioned. It looks like a dark cloud. I can see the hill clearly. Shatrughna, look at the abundance of flowers here. The slopes are covered by the flowers shed by the trees like rain clouds showering rain. The breeze is so pleasant, it seems to caress me. The place is very like heaven. My brother has chosen well. There is peace here, peace which the tapasvins strike for. Ask men who are well versed in tracking to go in advance and to look for the hermitage of Rama. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu.